Careful, chosen one. You might not even realize it, but something silent and sneaky is draining your energy, hijacking your mind, and pulling you away from your true purpose. Lust is not just a fleeting desire. It's a spiritual trap. It enters as pleasure, but it charges as destruction. Do you feel unexplained fatigue? Do you lose focus easily? Do you feel far from your mission, even though you know you were born for something greater? That's not a coincidence. That's a consequence. And in this video, I'm going to reveal the 8 invisible prices that lust makes the chosen ones pay, prices that few can see, until it's already too late. But here's the truth the system doesn't want you to discover. When you reclaim control over your energy, you unlock your clarity, your strength, and the path back to your divine destiny. So watch until the end, because every point I reveal here is a key for you to break invisible chains and reclaim your power. Few people realize it, but lust is like an invisible leak silently draining spiritual energy. The chosen one, when overtaken by this unbridled desire, feels their aura weaken and doesn't always understand why they feel constant fatigue, existential emptiness, or lack of focus. Ancient traditions like Taoism speak of sexual energy as vital essence, something sacred. When wasted on momentary and disconnected pleasures, it not only dissipates, it breaks the link with the alternative self, the higher self. It's like trading a cosmic treasure for illusory coins. This kind of energy drain weakens the spiritual protection field, leaving a person vulnerable to subtle attacks, dense energies, and negative thoughts that aren't even theirs. Many don't know this, but every thought you feed, especially those that arise in moments of impulse, opens doors to alternative realities where your spiritual growth is sabotaged. Spiritual awakening requires discipline, not repression. There's a huge difference here. A great practice, for example, is tantric meditation, which teaches energetic self-control without emotional castration. It's worth looking into masters like Mantak Chia or authors like Osho to begin this journey. Some might think it's exaggerated, but the truth is that many masters have fallen at this point. Just look at stories of legendary warriors or even spiritual leaders who lost their strength by giving in to lust. Spiritual power requires the channeling of vital energy, not its dispersion. And that's why those seeking enlightenment, manifestation of goals, or true success, whether in finances, relationships, or life purpose, need to understand the impact of this on the quantum physics of the soul. Those who learn to protect their inner light begin to notice how everything changes. Focus sharpens, relationships purify, and even health vibrates differently. But true change only happens when you face the reflection in the eye of your own inner oracle. When lust takes over, it's like a fog clouds the mind, and the worst part is, it feels pleasurable at first. The chosen one starts making decisions based on impulses, momentary desires, instead of spiritual wisdom. Consciousness, which once guided clearly, now goes silent under the noise of cravings. This is more common than it seems. Brilliant people with immense potential, trading a purposeful life for empty moments. It's the classic exchange of the eternal for the ephemeral, something quantum physics would call the wrong collapse of the wave function. Samson is an example that speaks more than it seems. He wasn't defeated by armies, but by a blind choice driven by desire. Delilah represented more than a woman. She was the symbol of distraction that clouds the eye of the inner oracle. In practice, this happens when someone starts a purposeful project but abandons everything for a relationship that only drains energy, or when someone hears the call for personal and spiritual growth but ends up trapped in addictions, distractions, or fleeting passions. All of this confuses awakening and delays enlightenment. A mind overtaken by lust loses its decision-making power and sense of direction. And this isn't just about sex. It's about everything that feeds unconscious desire, whether it's on social media, in the shows you choose to watch, or in the conversations you engage in. The life advice here is stop, breathe, meditate with full awareness, and observe what's guiding your decisions. When consciousness awakens, you can see beyond the fog, accessing the parallel universe where your true alternative self lives, the one who acts with clarity, intuition, and focus. And that's exactly where the next trap begins. Lust, disguised as passion or love at first sight, often creates connections that imprison more than they uplift. These are soul ties formed through energy exchange, and when the other person's energy is misaligned, the impact is devastating. The chosen one, instead of growing spiritually, starts going in emotional circles. It's like trying to fly with an anchor tied to your ankle. And the worst part, the person doesn't always realize it because emotional confusion camouflages what consciousness is trying to warn. These negative connections mess with the vibrational field. The aura becomes unstable, vulnerable, and thoughts begin to fall into a repetitive pattern of insecurity, neediness, and drama. This blocks the manifestation of goals and even affects areas like health and finances. Everything starts to stall. A practical example: relationships where the sex is intense, but the dialogue is shallow, the goals are conflicting, and the life purpose simply doesn't align. That's not love. It's emotional distraction with a high spiritual cost. Those who seek personal growth need to learn to cut these ties with firmness and compassion. Techniques like Ho'oponopono, energy cleansings with white sage, and even baths with rosemary and rue help restore balance. But the most important thing is self-knowledge, knowing what you're really seeking and not getting lost in illusions that only feed emotional hunger. Meditation focused on the heart chakra, for example, can reveal much more than 1,000 pieces of external advice. And when you begin to free yourself, you realize the universe was just waiting for that space to be cleared, so it could deliver something greater. Lust doesn't scream, it whispers. It arrives slowly, offering comfort, momentary relief, and small escapes from reality. When the chosen one is not paying attention, they begin to invest energy in fleeting desires, while their spiritual mission is pushed aside, forgotten in some corner of the mind. Time passes, and when they finally realize it, their focus has already evaporated. The light of the inner luminara begins to dim, and the universe starts sending signs that something is out of place. It's as if spiritual awakening were just around the corner, but you decide to stop at the bar of illusion and end up lost on the path. How many talents have been buried by distractions? How many projects that had everything to succeed died because attention was diverted by empty pleasures? This isn't an exaggeration. It's the alternative reality many people live in. The spiritual journey requires focus, and focus is a choice. Choose what nourishes the soul, not what merely entertains the body. Want a simple practice to regain focus? Create a weekly mission list. On it, include 3 actions aligned with your purpose. It could be studying spirituality, recording content, reading a book like The Power of Now, or doing a guided meditation. Spiritual discipline isn't boring, it's liberating. And the interesting thing is, the more aligned you become, the more the universe responds with synchronicities, creative ideas, and unexpected opportunities. But that's when a new silent challenge appears. Giving into lust isn't just a moral slip, it's a vibrational break. When the chosen one disconnects from the higher self, the spiritual protection that once surrounded them begins to dissolve. It's as if an invisible shield is removed, leaving the field open to spiritual interference. Subtle attacks begin to arise: insomnia, recurring negative thoughts, mental confusion, a feeling of heaviness on the shoulders. The person thinks it's just stress, but it's something much deeper. Quantum physics explains that everything vibrates, and when you're out of harmony, you attract similar frequencies. Without divine protection, low vibration entities draw near, feeding impulses, blocking creativity, and sabotaging the manifestation of dreams. It's like walking around with a glowing sign that says, "Vulnerable energy here." And the worst part? You don't always notice it right away. Everything seems normal, but inside, something is corroding the person's energy field, weakening even their relationships. The good news is that protection can be restored. How? Through discipline. Daily meditation with a focus on mindfulness acts as a vibrational shield. Spiritual fasting, intentional prayer, rituals with coarse salt and incense, and even reading psalms or chanting mantras like the Gayatri mantra help restore balance. But the most important thing is the firm decision to realign with your life's purpose. When that happens, the universe starts conspiring in your favor again. But without that alignment, the fall is inevitable. And with it comes a very familiar feeling. Lust promises pleasure, but often delivers silence. A heavy silence, full of repetitive thoughts and a guilt that the chosen one feels in the soul. It's not moral guilt, it's spiritual guilt. An emptiness that seems to scream, "This wasn't meant for me." When consciousness is awake, you can't pretend you didn't feel it. Regret comes not because the act was forbidden, but because it was disconnected from purpose. And when that happens, the power of manifestation begins to fail. Guilt generates a dense vibration that contaminates thoughts, actions, and even the physical body. That's why many, after giving in to temptation, fall into a cycle of self-judgment that paralyzes spiritual growth. And the problem is not making a mistake, it's continuing to punish yourself inside, as if you're not worthy of starting over. But the truth is, all great masters fell too, and it was the awareness of their mistakes that made them rise even higher. The difference lies in transforming guilt into learning. A powerful exercise is to write a forgiveness letter to yourself with sincerity. Put everything you feel into it, then burn it with the intention of release. Practice emotional healing meditations like those from the Luminara channel on YouTube, which bring cleansing and reconnection vibrations. Seek out books like The Way of the Wizard by Deepak Chopra, which teach you to look inward with compassion. When the chosen one forgives themselves, the universe responds. But if they don't forgive themselves, they begin to lose something even more precious. Manifesting is not just about wishing, it's about knowing exactly where to place your focus. And when lust takes over, focus slips away like sand through your fingers. Positive thinking loses power, mindfulness dissolves, and creativity, which was once a bridge to the universe, becomes just noise. The chosen one starts trying to attract their goals, but their field is disorganized. The frequency is low, and the law of attraction doesn't respond to words. It responds to real vibration. It's common to see people with enormous spiritual potential who read about quantum physics, who meditate, who make affirmations, and yet nothing changes. Why? Because the field is weakened on the inside. When carnal desire dominates, it steals the vital energy that should be feeding manifestation. The aura weakens, the mind becomes distracted, and the universe understands this person is not ready to receive yet. And at that point, many begin to doubt themselves, their spirituality, even the existence of a purpose. Want to reverse that? Try a 72-hour stimulus fast. Avoid social media, empty pleasures, and shallow conversations. Use that time to meditate, visualize, write affirmations, and reconnect with your mission. Listen to 528 Hz frequencies, which reprogram energetic DNA. Read You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, and feed your mind with seeds that bloom. Because when the power of manifestation begins working again, it's like portals open. And incredibly, some people, without realizing it, start using them for the wrong side. When lust takes the wheel, the chosen one may think they're in control, but behind the scenes, something darker may be pulling the strings. Low-vibration entities feed precisely on those openings, infiltrate the thoughts, and begin subtly manipulating decisions, behaviors, and even words. The person starts acting out of character, pushing away those they love, destroying what they built, all without understanding why. It's not Hollywood possession, it's energetic seduction. Quantum physics and spirituality have already shown that we are channels of manifestation. In other words, either you manifest light or you manifest shadow. When the field is vulnerable, the low-frequency alternative self takes the wheel. The chosen one, who once inspired with their aura, now confuses, pushes others away, and destroys, even without meaning to. And it all begins with a desire that seemed harmless, but opened a portal to a parallel universe where chaos reigns. Liberation begins within. Self-mastery is the master key. Meditation with golden light visualization, spiritual cleansing baths with coarse salt and rosemary, and affirmations like, "I command my mind and body," are practical tools. But above all, it's necessary to choose the light every single day, even when the shadows whisper tempting promises. Because in the end, the eye of the oracle only shows the future to those who are awake. And being awake is just the beginning. And now that you've seen the 8 hidden prices of lust, tell me, is it really worth paying so much for a pleasure that lasts minutes but can pull you away from your purpose for years? Have you been protecting your energetic field or letting external forces decide for you? The choice is yours. It always has been. But know this, if you've made it this far, it wasn't by accident. The universe called you because it knows you're ready to awaken. So, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Are you going to let it die here or apply it and transform yourself? Comment down below. Which of these 8 prices have you felt the most in your own skin? I want to hear from you. And hey, if this content helped you, if it lit up that light inside you, if it resonated, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and stay with us. Because this is just the beginning of your spiritual journey toward your enlightenment and manifestation of power.